The U.S. intelligence community reportedly paid thousands of dollars in an attempt to recover stolen NSA documents from Russian operatives. That's according to The Intercept. The U.S. secretly negotiated with the Kremlin to buy the documents. The Russians then offered to sell them the material regarding President Trump. The New York Times later ran a related story. James Risen, senior national correspondent for The Intercept, is in Washington and joins us now. James, according to what you found, what do these documents detail and how did the Russians get them?
Well, it's a very complicated story. First, the U.S., the CIA and the NSA were trying to recover stolen NSA documents that allow people to do very sophisticated hacks, and they were worried that those documents would allow for really horrible hacks of American systems. So that was their main focus, was to try to buy back documents from the Russians on that. And in the process of conducting this secret channel with the Russians, some of the Russians began to offer documents related to Trump and to the 2016 campaign. And the Americans were very ambivalent about whether they wanted to get these documents because they know how explosive this whole issue is. And so there was a lot of back and forth between the Russians and the Americans about whether the Americans would even accept the documents about Trump. And so finally it appears that they accepted some, and that but their primary goal all along for the CIA and the NSA was to get these documents back from a group called shadow brokers.
Mm-hmm. You talk about this ambivalence about this, and in the article you write that CIA under Director Mike Pompeo has at times been reluctant to stay involved in the operation, apparently for fear of obtaining Trump-related material offered by the Russians. Are you suggesting Pompeo doesn't want intel that might help the Mueller investigation?
Yes, I think they're very afraid of getting involved in the Mueller investigation. I think there's a real sense that of fear of Trump and a fear of what he'll do to the intelligence community if they do get involved. I think there's a fear that he will try to destroy the intelligence community if they get directly involved in the Mueller investigation. And as a result, I think there's been relatively little cooperation between the intelligence community and the Mueller special counsel's office.
So, James, the CIA is pushing back on your reporting. They're using some pretty strong language. Meanwhile, President Trump also seems to confirm your reporting by tweeting out, I'm going to quote here, according to the New York Times, a Russian sold phony secrets on Trump to the U.S. Asking price was $10 million, brought down to $1 million to be paid over time. I hope people are now seeing and understanding what's going on here. It's all starting to come out. Drain the swamp. Shouldn't the president and the intelligence community actually be on the same page, James?
I don't think so. I don't think they are on the same page. I think one of the problems you have is if you step back, think about it, the role of the intelligence community is not to investigate the President of the United States. Their role is to gather foreign intelligence. And so they look at this, and they've been kind of forced into this situation where they have to kind of decide, where do we go from here? How do we, this is a minefield for them. How do you navigate where a Russian offers you information, but it's really about your boss?
Mm-hmm. So the CIA pushed back, and they released this statement. I'm going to read it to you. The people swindled here were James Risen and Matt Rosenberg. The fictional story that CIA was built out of 100,000 is patently false. What do you make of that?
Well, I think, I don't want to comment on their statement. They can say what they want.
Okay, that's the official CIA reaction. It's interesting. We mentioned that the Times ran a similar story. Your story also, a lot of reporting in detail. What do you make of the fact that the Times ran one shortly after yours?
Well, that happens in journalism. There's a lot of competition in journalism. So I think it's good that everybody is looking into these kind of things.
James Risen, great to have you with us with The Intercept. James, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.